SOCC family. Garrett once again, continuing on reading from the book Fire Seeds. These awesome stories of how prayer, people crying out for God's glory, even small companies of people crying out for God's glory, changed nations, changing millions and millions of lives. So just want to encourage us through these stories. Our third story, kind of a two-parter here. Starts in the 18th century. Moravian priests led by a man named Count von Zinzendorf, with an interdenominational community comprised of Moravians, believers from the Czech region, as well as other persecuted refugees from the Protestant wars, who all came to Zinzendorf's estate in Germany for asylum. This little community experienced a powerful revival within 2 weeks of an outpouring of the Spirit. 24 men and 24 women covenanted together to pray as hourly intercessors, thus praying every hour around the clock. They were committed to see that the fire must be kept burning on the altar continuously and that it might not go out, from Leviticus 6:13. This prayer meeting would go nonstop, 24/7, for the next 100 years straight. It is seen by many as the spiritual power behind many of the revivals and many of the missionaries, many of the mission movements sent out in the 18th, 19th, and even 20th centuries. The Moravians served as an example and inspiration for others. A man named Peter Grieg, the modern 24/7 prayer movement out of England. After a visit to Herrnhut, which is where the Moravians led this prayer meeting, Herrnhut, Germany, the historic site of Zinzendorf's community, Grieg figured if the Moravians could do a century of 24/7 prayer, his community in England could at least try for a month back at his home church. So in September 1999, the same time as International House of Prayer, by the way, when that started in Kansas City, September 1999, they began their experiment and found that they couldn't stop praying after the month was up and continuing on until Christmas. Today, there are thousands of prayer rooms in 70 countries and counting. They are all mobilizing an army of prayer revivalists, willing to sacrifice, willing to persevere, willing to, well, let's hear from Pete Grieg's famous vision statement, if you've never heard this before. So this guy comes up to me and says, what's the vision? What's the big idea behind these prayers? I opened my mouth. The words came out like this. The vision? The vision is Jesus, obsessively, dangerously, undeniably Jesus. The vision is an army of young people. You see bones, I see an army, and they are free from materialism. They laugh at 9 to 5 little prisons. They could eat caviar on Mondays and crust on Tuesday, and they wouldn't even notice. They know the meaning of the matrix and the way the West was won. They are mobile like the wind. They belong to the nations. They need no passport. People write their addresses in pencil and wonder at their strange existence. They are free, and yet they are slaves of the hurting and dirty and dying. What is the vision? The vision is holiness that hurts the eyes. It makes children laugh and adults angry. It gave up the game of minimum integrity long ago to reach for the stars. It scorns the good and strains for the best. It is dangerously pure. Light flickers from every secret motive, every private conversation. It loves people away from their suicide leaps, their Satan games. This is an army that will lay down its life for the cause. 1,000,000 times a day, its soldiers choose to lose that they may one day win the great well done of a faithful son and daughter. Such heroes are as radical on Monday morning as on Sunday night, and they don't need fame from names. Instead, they grin quietly upwards and hear the crowds, the great crowd, chanting again and again, "Come on." And this is the sound of the underground, the whisper of history in the making, foundations shaking, revolutionaries dreaming once again. Mystery is scheming in whispers. Conspiracy is breathing the sounds of the underground. And this army is disciplined. Young people, old people, all people who beat their bodies into submission. Every soldier would take a bullet for his comrade at arms. The tattoo on their back boasts, for me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Sacrifice fuels the fire of victory in their upward eyes. Winners, martyrs, who can stop them? Can hormones hold them back? Can failure succeed? Can fear scare them or death kill them? And this generation prays like a dying man, with groans beyond talking, with warrior cries, euphoric tears, and with great barrow loads of laughter, waiting, watching 24/7, 365. Whatever it takes, they will give, breaking rules, shaking mediocrity from its cozy little hide, laying down their rights and their precious little wrongs, laughing at labels, fasting essentials. Their advertisers cannot mold them. Hollywood could not hold them. Peer pressure is powerless to shake their resolve at late night parties before the cockerel cries. They are incredibly cool, dangerously attractive inside, and on the outside, they hardly care. They wear clothes like costumes to communicate and celebrate, but never to hide. Would they surrender their image or their popularity? They would lay down their very lives, swap seats with the man on death row, guilty, a throne for an electric chair. With blood and sweat and many tears, with sleepless nights and fruitless days, they pray as if it all depends on God and live as if it all depends on them. Their DNA chooses Jesus. He breathes out, they breathe in. Their subconscious sings. They had a blood transfusion with Jesus. Their words make demons scream. Don't you hear them coming? Herald the weirdos, summon the losers and the freaks. Here come the frightened and forgotten with fire in their eyes. They walk tall, trees applaud, skyscrapers bow, mountains are dwarfed by these children of another dimension. Their prayers summon the hounds of heaven and invoke the ancient dream of Eden. And this vision it will come to pass. It will come easily, it will come soon. How do I know? Because this is the longing of creation itself, the groaning of the Spirit, the very dream of God. My tomorrow is his today. My distant hope is his 3D, and my feeble, whispered, faithless prayer invokes a thunderous, resounding, bone-shaking, great amen from the countless angels, from heroes of the faith, and from Christ himself. And he is the original dreamer, the ultimate winner, guaranteed. May these words and this story encourage us to press into the place of prayer together and to cry out for God's glory. Be blessed, family.